Every time I see him, he makes me feel lazy because he's always out there on the trail. It's Nate Goldberg with the Beaver Creek Hiking Center. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken.
How many miles do you hike in a day, a week, a month, in a year?
Not enough. You know, I'm an office jockey a lot of the time. I've got 12 guides that work for me out of this incredible hiking center. So I try to keep them busy, but like a day like yesterday, we got busy. I got to go back Huron Peak.
Oh, where's that one?
Huron is actually the furthest 14er from pavement, outside of Leadville, outside of Buena Vista. And it's one of the 14ers. We had such an amazing day. We actually had two groups up yesterday. We had two 14ers yesterday. We had a group go up to Shrine Ridge. We had a group on Beaver Creek Mountain. So we're not just the Beaver Creek Hiking Center. We are Beaver Creek and 80 miles radius.
You've piqued my curiosity. I didn't even know about Huron.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But I think if I was to do anything today, did you say something about a spot treatment?
Yeah. Oh, did you tune in earlier?
I tuned in earlier, and nothing wrong with that either.
My lazy man way to look like you're an adventure seeker, you know, just splash some water on your face. You guys do it the real way. I did mention during that piece about riding the lift up. That's also a way through you all that you could do it. I mean, you have, I would say, guided hikes for every caliber, every level.
Well, we really do. And we have our Rise and Shine, which is kind of geared towards that 9 to 10:30. Just get out and burn some calories, learn some stretching, some of the area. We finish up with a Starbucks gift card. We've got our Beaver Creek mountain hikes. Those are 3-hour hikes, morning or afternoon. That gives you a chance to explore Beaver Creek, learn about the beauty, learn about the trails, local history, flora and fauna. If you want a little more, we've got our lift and picnic. Take the lift up. We hike over to Beaver Lake via the Royal Elk Trail. We have a picnic catered by the Osprey, and that's a great day. We also, you know, if you want to do something a little more eccentric, we've got our wine excursion. This is pretty classic.
Sounds up my alley.
This is amazing.
I like it.
All that's missing is the spot treatment. But we drive up to Beano's, we park at Beano's, we hike to Beaver Lake, we then hike back to Beano's, we finish up with a wine and cheese and meat pairing.
This sounds great. I mean, Beano's is one of my favorite. Many of our viewers are familiar with that during the winter months. Take the sleigh rides up there. What a great place to do it. And also, just the drive up here. I mean, just being in Beaver Creek itself, as you mentioned, where your office is located, when you do base your trips out of here, this is like the ideal setting to start them.
Oh, it is. And we've got such great hiking from here, but we get a lot of return guests that are like, well, what's beyond Beaver Creek? And that's when we jump into what we call our mini adventures, which are up to 6 hours. We got our adventures up to 8 hours, and then we've got our 14ers, which could be a 10 to 12-hour day.
That's a good point. I mean, it is almost like, you know, when people are familiar with coming out here for ski vacations, you know, as you start off, you go to the green runs, then you go to your blues, then black, double black runs. It's the same thing with hiking in that there's the easy hikes and then there's the more difficult ones, and you all, as guides, can really take them through that progress. Do you see people that come here and start off easy and then, you know, by the end of their trip or maybe next year, they're starting to knock out those 14ers?
Well, let's put it this way. I've been with families that started out at 6 and 8 years old. They're out of college now. So you know, it's neat to see the progressions. It's neat to see the families year after year. And that's what our guides do. We build those relationships with those hikers. We invite them back to come with us again. We also hope that we're educating them how to be wise on the trail. Things like leave no trace, how to be prepared, how to snack, how to use your poles. You know, just setting yourself up for success. And that's what we do.
People are sometimes surprised when you give them the poles for hiking, but then they're in love with it by the end of the hike because it takes so much weight off your knees, especially on that downhill, on the descent from the mountain.
Well, absolutely, and Lecky is one of our ambassadors, so we put a pair of poles in everybody's hands when they head out for a hike, and I make them a deal. If they don't like them, I'll carry them. In 15 years, guess how many pairs of poles I've carried? Zero.
Yeah,
Zilch.
You always
People
want.
love them. And you know what they say is over an 8 to 10 hour hike, you could save up to 250 tons of pounding because it's about 10% with each heel strike. 2 more points of contact, and you know that it just makes sense. They're great to use, and we use them all the time.
I consider this time of year and into the fall the season of the 14er. You know, we have discussed the easier portions and the hikes, but back to the 14, and to our viewers, that's a 14,000 foot peak or above. We have many of them in Colorado. How many do you do, and what does it take to be a participant to hike these?
Well, we have 54 of them in the state of Colorado. We have permits for 10 of them. Our closest one is Mount of the Holy Cross, which is probably one of the most difficult ones we do, but we've got easier ones like Mount Elbert, Mount Huron, we've got Mount Sherman. So we kind of pick the 14ers to kind of geared towards what the guest wants to accomplish. What it takes is it takes a great fitness level. It takes the ability to want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and the ability to want to have a long day on the trail, but there is nothing like the view from the top of a 14er.
Nothing. And you always have to remember, when you get to the top, you're only halfway there. Before we wrap it up, we do have to send it back to the weather. 10 seconds or less, tell our viewers about the free hikes that take place up at the top of the mountain.
Oh, absolutely. That's our Nature Valley hike. It's offered every day from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock with one of our guides. 1 mile, 1 hour, complimentary, meets at the top at Spruce Saddle. Great way to learn about the local area, everything we have to offer, as well as what we offer as a hiking center.
Excellent. Good to see you.
Thanks.
Awesome job out here.
I'd love to get a spot treatment.
I know. Head on over to Alegria. We're going to send it right now, though, down to our colleague, Megan. She's in the studio. She's got your weather for your hiking next.